the Stat Market opening bell. We give you the stats, and you decide, are you buying or selling that the trends will continue? So first up, Paul George, who is shooting a ridiculous 51% from the field and from three-point range, as well as 91% from the free throw line. You are looking at a list of players to achieve a 50-40-90 season, because 50-50-90 is too absurd. We don't have a list for that. So, Zach, are you buying or selling? We'll set the bar at 50-40-90 for Paul George. Zach, you got me?
Well, I can tell you right now what I think.
Go.
Yes. I think this guy is he's got like a chip on his shoulder after all of that preseason talk. And you can see it. Look at how he goes to the basket. We was talking about the way he attacks the rim. It's like, PG. I dare you to jump.
Yep.
Because I'm going to posterize you. Yeah. And he's not leaving without a foul or a bucket or both. And that is the PG that people have been worrying about, especially with that team and the way that T. Lue is utilizing them. I really think he can stay on track to hit that landmark.
Yeah, I think if anything, maybe to 45, but I think it'll be higher than 40. And he's on a mission. He came on the podcast earlier this season, and he looked in the camera and said what he was going to do. But to be honest, the only way to kind of forget everything is to do this in the playoffs.
That's all it's about.
And I believe he will. You know, he really was big on the last year before. He didn't get a chance to have any kind of training camp workouts because he was coming off 2 bad shoulders. So this year he got a full for what it could be, time to work out, and he's definitely, coming back for names this year.
I love his attitude this year. I love that it started with taking accountability, because I think people needed to hear that from him, and he needed to do that for himself. He's a high character guy. He needed to do that, and then to go out and say, I know I got to prove it to people. Watch
me do it.
I love it. All right, we don't have Zach Lowe right now, but we do have Zach LaVine scoring 5th in the league in scoring 27.5 points per game. Only Brad Beal, KD, Steph Curry, and Dame are averaging more. So, Coach Fizz, do you buy or sell him finishing the season in the top 5?
I'm either going to be a rich man or I'm going broke, because I'm buying. This dude is a walking bucket. I think there's no question about it. This guy scores in his sleep. The next shot is his best shot. That's how he looks at it. And he is hard to keep away from getting to the shots that he likes. And so the way that coach is using him out there, I can easily see him being a top 5 scorer.
Absolutely. And I'm buying as well. And he can get it however you want it. He's someone that attacks the basket too, can get it off the post, can get it off his mid-range, can get it off his 3. And like Bradley Beal, he's someone at the trade deadline that could be a big piece that helps one team get over the hump.
Well, that to me is going to be the key on whether he stays in the top 5 in scoring or not. If he doesn't get traded, he has a chance to stay in the top 5 in scoring. Right. If he gets traded to join a contender, you have to think then some of those numbers will adjust.
Where did he go to school?
He'll sacrifice UCLA.
Oh, I'm just checking.
He was a quick in and out, but he was definitely there.
He's a Bruin, though.
It counts.
This guy, he's serious business. When it comes to scoring, this guy is serious business. And, man, do I love it when he gets a breakaway. He is exciting.
I also appreciate the way he's approached the game, approached some, frankly, difficult years in Chicago, even with coaches maybe who didn't come in respecting all of the players. He tried to work with every coaching staff he's been handed. He's doing well with Billy Donovan right now, so props to him for all of that. All right, lastly, let's go to the Lakers, who allowed the fewest points per 100 possessions of any team in the league. So, Matt, do you buy or sell the Lakers having the best defense in the league all through the season?
I'm buying everything today.
We're going to be rich or broke, baby.
You guys are going to hold stock, and we're going to check back with you.
And the one thing about the Lakers is they're an older team, so it's not so much about that one-on-one lockdown defender they have. They have great team defense, and Fizz will tell you that's very important to have placement, rotation, talking, everyone playing as hard as they possibly can, and that's what makes you a number 1 team defensively. So I'm definitely buying this.
He said it as well as you could say it. This team's connected. They got veteran guys that you're not going to trick ever. And the thing that stands out to me the most about them is their role players really get after you.
They know their role.
Like, they pick you up. They climb up in you. They're getting deflections. They really communicate. You're talking about Bron, who never shuts up. Marc Gasol, one of the great. He's a defensive player of the year, right? You got Montrezl Harrell back there who can bark. And so AD, these guys are connected, and I think that they want to be the best team in the league. The only thing that's going to stop them is if they keep blowing teams out and they don't play in the fourth quarter. That's it.
Right.
Because otherwise, I think they're definitely going to be, if not one, right up there at the top. So I'm buying.
They'll be top 5 regardless, but I think 1 is where they can stay just depending on the course of the season. It's a long season, so their goal is to stay healthy and be ready for the playoffs. So that means sitting people or blowouts, whatever it may be, they may slide a little bit.
They make you take the ball out of the net. Number 2 in second chance points, 8th in points in the paint. They break every time when they get the ball, so they always set their defense. So that's what makes them miserable to play against.
And to me, this is where, of course, approach and talent meet. And look, the Lakers, when they got together as a team at the beginning of last year during training camp, we looked at their individual defensive numbers, and even LeBron, I mean, it was not great going into last season.
We got some clips of him
right?
shortcutting, though.
Right? And so there were questions about how they could defend, especially perimeter defense, and those were fair considering what those guys had done going into that season. Now, they, of course, had AD coming in. That's a huge different presence inside, but they committed to team defense in a way we frankly hadn't seen most of those guys do in previous seasons. And they, from day one, LeBron came in from day one.
Said this is what it's going to be about.
This is what it's going to be.
But here's the other thing that we're not talking about, and I know sometimes this gets lost in the shuffle because they're so talented and so great. Frank Vogel is one of the best defensive coaches in this league.
You are right.
It was a nightmare playing against him out in Indiana all of those years. It was like playing in mud, and now he's got a supercharged offense team to go along with those defensive principles. So you got to give him and the staff credit as well to really get this team engaged enough, night in, night out, to compete on the defensive end, and now you see where they stand.
Matt, is this the model for the Nets?
Yes. Piece by piece, coming together. And I want to add on to what you said, because Vogel took a lot of heat coming in. Everyone, this is Jason Kidd's team, or this is LeBron's team, this is that, and Vogel Vogel just sat back. He's applied what he knows best, and he's gotten out the way and letting these guys create with it, and that's what good coaches do.
Yep. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.